This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
I tell you, Tom, I don't feel great.
Oh, what's wrong with you?
I got a thing. Can you hear it in my voice?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
I have what every indication is that it's not COVID-19, the dreaded COVID-19, Tom.
Oh, thank goodness.
But I feel like I'm afflicted by it, but I've just been testing like a madman.
Uh-huh.
And the tests are like, no, you're cool. Go out. Hit up the bars. Go to the discotheque.
Oh, wow. You have a
Hang out with children.
You have a test that gets that specific about what you should be doing, what you're healthy enough to do.
Yeah, I got it from the concierge at the Ace Hotel.
Woo, wow. Well, la-dee-da. Very fancy.
Yeah, it tells me all the hip things to do, Tom.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the Ace Hotel? Yeah, you've been to the Ace Hotel.
Yes, I have been to the Ace Hotel.
Yeah.
In New York? Yes. I haven't stayed there. I've partied there, Tom. Full disclosure, I've partied there a lot. I've partied in a lot of places.
Yeah, it's the lobby is just full of young people making out and doing drugs in the bathroom.
And it's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those young people. As a card-carrying member of Generation Z, Gen Z.
You're in the bathroom taking a dump in the toilet, and everybody's doing cocaine, going like, "Ew, some old guy came in here and pooped."
I'd be too shy to do that if there was cocaine happening in there. I'd be like, oh, it to go so bad, but I can't.
I guess I'll just call a cab and go home so I can do it there.
Yep.
and then come back.
Have I been to the Ace Hotel in Los Angeles? In as much as I believe that exists, I think I've been there as well.
Wow. A real globetrotter, jet setter.
Yeah. Have I been to the Ace Hotel in London? I don't know if that's a place, and if it is, I have not been there.
Yeah, I don't think you've been to many fancy hotels in London. I've been to most of the hotels in London you've been to, and they're not fancy.
They're okay.
They're okay, but they're not fancy. When we're over there, we're not living it up.
I mean, you're not. I'm out at the posh nightclubs.
Well, I like to be able to identify with the man on the street, Tim. That's why I stay at
the old man on the street.
So I usually stay at youth hostels when we're over there.
I stayed at a hostel in Germany, Berlin, with a bunch of people when we were all adults and could afford hotels, but we stayed at a hostel for some reason. And I drank a lot of beer because we were in Germany.
Yeah, was it beer that they were selling at the hostel?
I mean, they were selling it everywhere. Just steins wherever you went. But I drank so much beer, and then you know me, Tom. I drink some alcohol. I snore like a freaking buzzsaw. And I was in a room with like 8 other people, and they all hated me. And I was just like, well, this is why grown-ups get hotel rooms. Only my wife would hate me.
Right. Was it people you knew, or?
Yeah. We were all there as girls trip, classic girls trip.
Well, okay. I stayed in a hostel in Bangkok, Thailand once, and
this is a setup to a dirty joke.
No, but the whole time it felt like somebody might come in and kidnap all of us and cut our organs out and sell them on the black market. We were across the street. You could watch out the window. There was like a brothel nightclub type place.
Ooh.
You could just see a bunch of dirty old men going in and out.
Yeah.
I would just
when you went to Thailand, you were there for you were living in the lap of luxury.
Later on, but this was just like for a night. Like we had a flight that got in late, and we had to catch a bus, like a private bus, early. So it was like we had, I don't know, 10 hours to kill, but they were in the middle of the night. So we were told, get somewhere to sleep, but don't overpay, because you're literally just going to be sleeping there. And I was like, I took don't overpay as code for find literally the cheapest place you can stay at.
Which I'm sure was like, what, $3 American?
It was very close to that. I did splurge. I think it was 4 of us, and we got a private room instead of sleep. You could also rent hammocks on the roof, and you could just sleep up there if you wanted.
That's nice. Under the stars?
Yeah. I mean,
Under the Thailand stars?
Me and a friend of the show, AJ, went up there, hung out, and it was beautiful. I actually kind of wish that was what we had done. But I think we would have.
Well, we should all go back and sleep on those hammocks.
I think
right the wrongs of the past.
We would have woke up to everything gone, everything stolen from us. But
small price to pay.
Yeah.
All of your things.
I was gonna say I didn't even sleep. I spent the whole night. Like I told you, there was that brothel across the street. I just spent the whole night leaning out the window and yelling shame at these businessmen going inside and coming out.
Look, that's none of your business, Tom.
It was my business that night, Tim. I paid good money for that room. And that was one of the perks. You get to yell shame at the businessmen coming in and out of the brothel across the street. Do
you remember when we were in high school? This is how I bet high school isn't like this anymore, Tom. For Spanish class, we were able to make videos.
Yeah. I know what you're thinking of.
Yeah, and the purpose of these were like, it's a fun way. Mm-hmm. You get a camcorder and like you make a funny skit or like a little, homemade movie, mm-hmm. and all the dialogue's in Spanish using the vocabulary words. And like it's a nice fun project that you can work on. And it's supposed to
be a way to use that practically to get more comfortable with the language.
Right. And this was right in the beginning of like Google. It probably wasn't Google Translate. It was like Alta Vista Translate or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, very early version.
So we didn't even have to like learn words. Mm-hmm. We could just like, we didn't have to rely on, our textbooks or what the teacher taught us. Like we could say what.
And
so
especially because it was very easy vocabulary we were learning. So it was the kind of stuff that even an early web translation thing would handle no problem.
No, but you could look up anything.
Right.
Right. And so what we did, were you involved in this one?
Yeah, I was.
Where there was an adult shop a couple towns over where they sold like, I guess, pornographic videos and toys. Yeah,
and I think
stuff.
like toys and bondage gear, stuff like that. Maybe even lingerie, but like, filthy lingerie, not classy stuff.
Yeah, no, this was a real dirtbag establishment.
Mm-hmm. In like an industrial part of town.
Yeah, well, that's where they had to be. They don't zone those. Like it had to be like at least 6 miles from a school or something. Mm-hmm. But for a class assignment,
it wasn't far enough from a school for us.
Yeah, and we hid in the corner of the parking lot with a camcorder and just videotaped skeevy men coming in and out of that. And then we'd look up words like, disgusting pervert or something to technically get the Spanish in there. And we'd either... I think the intention was to yell it at these men, but then we like
chickened out.
We chickened out and just kind of whispered it into the camcorder.
Yeah, whispered into the camcorder's microphone like that man's a pervert.
Is high school still like that? And I graduated, Tom. I was number 3 in my class.
They showed that video to the whole class. Like the teacher didn't start playing the video and was like, "Oh, this is." Nonsense. I can't show this. We were like, no, there's Spanish in it. Play the whole video. Me and you weren't even in the same class, but somehow we both
I don't know how we
were able to. We were, in different grades, but it was like, yeah, you can submit this as a group project. Sure. Yeah, I don't know if school's like that anymore. The good old days.
I guess it's not. Yeah. Neither of us would have graduated.
Oh, nowadays?
Now. Yeah.
Yeah, no. If we were somehow magically transferred from our 16-year-old selves, were just plopped into school today, yeah, no way. We wouldn't be able to do anything. because now everything's like actually graded. I feel like, they put everything into a computer and the computer does the job instead of a teacher who's like, these boys are funny. It's fine.
But we weren't even funny or clever. I mean, I guess the premise of that is a little bit funny, right?
Yeah.
I guess a teacher, but like we made a sequel to it, which was like pretty much the same thing.
Well, Tim,
it was new footage, but we didn't iterate on it at all.
When you got a hit on your hands,
different guys.
When you got a hit on your hands, you don't throw that away. The class loved it. They wanted more. They wanted more videos of just real shaky zoomed in camcorder footage of men coming in and out of an adult bookstore.
A look of shame on their faces.
Yeah, as they're like trying to keep their heads down and just get to their car as quickly as possible, praying to God there aren't some teenagers hiding in the bushes videotaping them to show to a class full of other teenagers who are just going to laugh at them.
Oh God, thank God, like nobody in the class is like dad showed up on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that was our dream.
Yeah, it was a dad trap. It was a local dad trap.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we were only there for like a half hour at a time, but I don't know, some of those men, Tim, that might be their dream to hear that a room full of teenagers laughed at them. That might be they might love to hear that. That might be even better than what they could buy in an adult bookstore. Tim, this week we're talking about one of the biggest things out there. I
would say the biggest thing out there. Nope. Sorry, it's not the biggest thing out there.
It's not the sun. The sun's the biggest thing out there.
Yeah.
And that's just local. I think further away there's even bigger suns.
Not that we know of, but
to say nothing of not that we know of, Tim, you understand what stars are, right?
Tom, I know that that's what they say.
Right.
Like, I'm on record saying I watched Cosmos and I was just like, very interesting, but like, come on, how do you know?
Yeah. I want to see a close-up picture.
No, they show you. They did like computer generated, this is exactly what they look like and this is how big they are. It's like, really? You know this? Oh, this is what color they are?
Yeah. I want to see an actual picture, not a computer generated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once a guy goes there, then I'll believe, the attributes of distant stars.
Yeah, I've gone to see movies where they've said, look, this is exactly what Iron Man looks like, and I'm supposed to believe he exists?
Yeah, no. It's all BS, Tom. Once you realize it's all Hollywood smoke and mirrors.
All of it.
You don't know
everything.
Who to trust anymore. Everything you see.
Well, Tim, thankfully, this week's topic, one of the biggest things that we can verify ourselves is pretty big. I mean, who knows how big it is, but I can testify with my own eyes it's pretty big, and it's called the ocean.
Tom,
mm-hmm.
I love the ocean. It's also the scariest thing on Earth, right? It's the biggest thing on Earth. It's the scariest thing on Earth.
Yeah, it's just
we're all afraid of the ocean, aren't we, folks?
Well, I think as human beings, we take a lot of pride and satisfaction in that we're bigger than a lot of things.
Right.
We walk around and we...
Is this another, like, you're bragging about how tall you are?
No.
Oh, I'm bigger than a tree that was planted that's 6 feet tall. All right. Yeah. I'm not bigger than that, Tom.
I'm saying we look at a lot of other animals and we go, we're bigger than that. I look at a squirrel and I'm like, I'm not afraid of a squirrel. I'm bigger than it.
I'm uneasy around squirrels.
I mean, sure, if it gets too close, but the squirrels, they don't know that. Yeah. They're afraid of us because we're big. I think
the squirrels in my neighborhood, they're starting to get wise.
They've started to learn. That guy Tim's real skittish around us.
Yeah.
You don't have to be so scared of him. You could probably, if you see him eating some food, you could snag it right out of his hand.
I'm just afraid of rabies, Tom.
Yeah. You have to be nowadays.
You gotta be.
It's
out there.
No cure for rabies.
Just a big old shot in the butt, I think a few times.
Yeah,
right?
or not no cure. I guess that's the cure, but
no treatment.
It's a death sentence if you don't get it taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently in history there's been like one person who survived rabies without treatment.
Who?
Abraham Lincoln.
Wow.
Yeah, old honest Abe.
Old honest Abe.
Yeah, unfortunately only moments later he was shot. His wife had taken him to the theater to celebrate him getting over rabies, being the first man to survive rabies. And the rest is history. And now Stomp is in that theater.
Is it?
Or at least they were when I was in college. So probably still there.
Yeah. Two presidents, George Washington, Abe Lincoln, and like everybody's like, oh, they're honest. You know, that's the main descriptor.
Honest Abe, and Washington couldn't tell a lie.
Yeah, a new descriptor. Like there needs to be a new single characteristic for each president, right? You can't reuse honest. Yeah.
And it doesn't, I mean, especially the George Washington one, it's like, give me a break, you know. And that was such a stupid thing. When he was a kid, he chopped down a cherry tree and his dad said, who did this? And he said, I cannot tell a lie. It was me. But I think it was more like, oh, I'm busted. I can't tell a lie because, well, what am I going to say? Some British guy came and did it.
I think that little jerk was proud of it. I think he was happy to take credit for it.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I did that. What are you going to do about it, old man?
I cannot tell a lie. I did it, father.
Yeah. Oh, I bet you're not going to even do anything.
Yeah.
I bet you're not going to protect your own cherry tree against a child.
And presumably, George still had the hatchet in his hand.
Yeah. His hands are covered in blood.
Anyway.
So it wasn't just the tree.
Anyway, the ocean, Tim. Well, you mentioned that the ocean's scary. I read that thanks to the ocean, most of our planet is in the dark because of this ocean.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Because it's so deep.
Because it's so deep and so much of the earth is covered by the ocean. That means most of the planet, complete pitch black darkness. Terrifying.
Well, I mean, yeah. Not to mention, I don't think it's the fact that it's dark. It's just the fact that we don't know what's down. There's one guy that knows what's down there, right?
James Cameron.
But other than that, none of us know anything about that. That's terrifying.
And he only knows about it because he was trying to find that necklace that old lady threw overboard.
Yeah, did he ever find it?
I don't know, but
he's like, oh, that's worth $43,000. I'll be rich if I get it.
I'll be able to make any movie I want.
Yes.
Have you seen the trailer for this new Avatar?
I haven't seen even 1 minute of the old Avatar movie.
Really? You've never seen Avatar?
No, I've never seen it. Tom, do I look like a guy that has seen Avatar?
Tim, it was one of the biggest movies ever.
I know. For a minute, it was the biggest movie ever.
Yeah. You missed out of seeing one of the biggest movies ever. And at the time,
and I'm not going to watch it now on my dumb TV that's not even in 3D and gigantic.
Go out to Best Buy. Pick up a 3D TV. They're all the rage right now.
Sit real close to it.
Yeah.
Did you ever consider buying a 3D TV when they tried to make that a thing? Like, 8 years ago?
I don't think, even for me, I don't think I really did. I checked it out. I remember I stayed in a house once, like a rental house, and they had a 3D TV with like the big glasses that, like, they weren't the movie theater glasses. These glasses had to be charged. They had their own mechanism inside.
I don't understand how any of that would work. Why wouldn't they just do it the movie theater way?
I don't know, but apparently doing it the movie theater way didn't work for TVs, which is nuts because it was just projected onto a screen, onto a white piece of material. I don't understand how you couldn't just do the same thing.
I think Samsung and Panasonic were pulling one over on us. No, you need to buy these glasses.
Yeah, you need our special glasses. You can't just steal glasses from the movie theater and use those.
Yeah.
But I watched
Samsung. I hate them so much.
I watched 5 minutes of a basketball game on this 3D TV, and my impression afterwards was, that's pretty cool. That was about it. It wasn't cool enough to watch any more of the basketball game, and it wasn't cool enough for me to go buy a 3D TV.
Here's my conundrum, Tom.
Uh-huh.
Avatar 2.
I think it's The Way of the Water, because it's about the ocean.
The Way of the Water. Yeah. Scary movie.
Mm-hmm.
Man, James Cameron just loves the water, huh?
He does.
All right, that's going to be a spectacle.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the visual effects are only better from the movie that came out in 13 years ago?
Yeah, I would hope so. It would suck if he was just like, look, we bought all these computers for the first movie, and we still haven't, even though it was the biggest movie ever, we haven't made our money back. So we got to make another movie with all the same stuff. Now,
what about this, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta watch Avatar 1 before I can see Avatar 2. Otherwise, I'll be like, Navi, what's this? Why are these guys blue?
Yeah.
Right? And
when is
the
Avatar
first one,
going to be
you
here?
presumably see them get dyed blue.
That happens in a prequel comic.
Okay. But all right, but I'm not gonna watch Avatar 1 on my crappy TV,
right?
Because it'll that's just like a dumb plot. They're re-releasing.
Tim, you're in luck. They're re-releasing it.
They're gonna re-release it, but I'm not gonna watch Avatar 1 when I know that Avatar 2 is gonna be more stunning visual effects.
Yeah,
why am I wasting my time?
I think
I should just read the plot summary.
I think actually
I'm gonna read the plot summary right now.
I think actually the first one, they are going back. It's like a remaster. I don't think it's just that they're putting it back out the way it was. I think they are redoing some of the 3D effects at least. But I do think it makes sense that they would re-release the movie, the first one, before the second one comes out, because the first one came out a while ago, and famously, even though it's the biggest movie ever, had zero cultural impact, and nobody can remember any of the characters or what happened.
You remember Jake Sully?
I do, but only because his last name's Sully, like a real-life hero.
Right. Did they actually get Sully to play him?
At the time, Tim, Sully was
Sullenberger
was but a normal man just walking the streets.
He was never but a normal man, Tom.
Yeah, and he wasn't
People
walking the streets. He was flying the skies.
His heroic nature. Yeah. Sam Worthington?
Yeah.
That's a guy I've never heard of.
He was just in the show I watched, Under the Banner of Heaven. That was very good, and he was good in it.
Tom, we're trying to talk about the ocean here.
Well, Tim, Under the Banner
this movie's full of people I've never heard of.
Guess what is Under the Banner of Heaven? The ocean.
Ooh.
I do think it's funny that, like I was saying, it makes sense to re-release the first Avatar because people haven't seen it in a while. But knowing James Cameron, it is 100% because Avengers Endgame wound up beating Avatar's record for highest grossing movie ever. And he's like, we'll see about that. I'm going to put that movie back out in theaters because I think it just barely edged it out.
Yeah, but it edged it out because Avengers Endgame was like, we're going to re-release. We're going to
they did a re-release as well.
An extra scene and a commercial for the next Marvel movie.
I don't think they even did that. I think they were just like, we're just going to put it out in movie theaters again because we're real close and we need our fans to help support this scrappy little company named Disney.
And also fans decide that nothing baffles me more than when fans are really obsessed with the box office of movies that they
right.
like, and it's like, oh no, we gotta get Avengers Endgame over the line.
Yeah, and however much
they're gonna keep making these movies, whether or not it's the biggest movie of all time, and you don't stand to profit at all from this. There's no profit sharing amongst Marvel fans.
However much money I need to spend out of my own meager pocket to help this company, Disney.
Walt Disney Corporation.
Who now owns Avatar because they own Fox. So they're now in the Avatar business as well.
Wow.
Tim, I want
Man, great people,
to
heroes.
get back to the ocean for a moment, if we can. Here's something you mentioned that, like, the ocean is like mostly unexplored. That annoys me. I hate whenever people are pointing out, we know more about Mars than we do the ocean. It's like, okay, because Mars is interesting and not as scary. I feel like whenever they mention those things, there's like an undertone of like, we should be shamed for that. We don't know enough about the ocean. We're busy trying to learn about Mars or Jupiter, and we don't even know about our own dang ocean. And it's like, well, what am I going to do about that? I'm doing my best, but I can only go to the beach.
Your read of the intent behind factoids.
I just feel like really, that's one that's always being thrown in our face. Like, we shouldn't be.
I don't think it's accusatory, Tom. I think you need to. This is something you need to work out. Like, it's not. Nobody. It's an interesting factoid. Nobody's mad at you.
Well, that's not what it feels like.
It's surprising that the ocean is right here. You and I have been in the ocean, Tom.
Right? Exactly. And I haven't been to Mars, so I've done my part.
I know, but what they're saying is, isn't it wild? So many of us have been in the ocean, sailed across the ocean, look out into the ocean while contemplating the meaning of life, and it's right here. It's right here. We can touch it. We have touched it, yet we know more about this distant planet that nobody has ever set foot on.
Yeah, but guess what? It's because that planet isn't in the dark like this one.
I mean, it is, I think, right?
Mars,
space is dark.
Mars isn't in the dark, Tim. It's always daylight there. The 365 days of light. That's why it's the red planet.
We have lights. James Cameron put a light on his little underwater mobile.
Yeah, I think we need bigger lights. I think that's the problem. We need to get to work this whole planet on lighting the ocean. Light the ocean up.
I just don't think anybody is accusing you of not.
Hashtag light the ocean. Let's put some street lamps in the ocean. Let's get the whole thing lit up. Let's see what's down there once and for all.
We'll figure that out in no time.
Yeah, once we get all these lights installed, nothing will be able to hide from us. We'll find all the creatures.
I don't know that we want to know about these creatures, Tom. All right, so the ocean is home to almost 95% of all life on Earth.
Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
And we estimate we haven't discovered 91% of the ocean life, are just creatures we've never seen or know anything about.
Yeah, but do you think it's going to be cool stuff, or it's going to be like this type of shark's got its fins are a little different?
I mean, who knows? The James Cameron's movie was Aliens of the Deep, Tom.
Yeah, but name one of those aliens of the deep that he found.
There's a goober with one eye and a big sharp tooth, I think.
No, I don't think so, Tim. I don't think there are any animals with just one eye.
I'm sure there are in the ocean, Tom.
In the ocean? No, I don't think so. If anything, they've got more than two eyes.
Some of them got more than two eyes. Tom, you ever see the Monsters, Inc.?
Yeah, that's not real, despite how realistic the
Sully,
graphics
am I right?
look.
I think
so. You don't believe Neil deGrasse Tyson, but you believe Monsters Inc.
Yeah, the Pixar Corps, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, well, they've got a better budget, Tim. The graphics in Monsters Inc. look better than that Cosmos show.
Yeah, that sequence with the doors at the end, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, and just getting that fur right, that's a lot harder.
Right. It actually doesn't look all that good.
What?
Monsters Inc. compared to what they've done.
Well, maybe you haven't seen a little movie called Monsters Inc. University.
Tom,
I think it's called something like that.
Copepods, a small type of crustacean.
Okay, so new crabs, big whoop.
No. One eye.
Oh, one eye.
Yeah. You're there saying with all this kind of authority that, there's no one-eyed animal.
You didn't let me finish before. I meant to say, are there any one-eyed animals that aren't crustaceans?
Tom, Can I show you a picture of this dang thing?
Okay. Does it look like a real goober?
Tom, it looks like a goober, but also freaking terrifying. I just sent it to your screen.
Okay, let me take a look.
It looks like one of the Monsters Inc.
What? It does.
It looks like.
Oh my god! Look at this guy.
Looks like Billy Crystal in Monsters Inc.
Yeah. Wow.
See, this is why I'm just like, okay, well then probably if they based Billy Crystal's character off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably all the other ones live under the sea as well.
Yeah. And this thing's called Cyclops. Oh no, this is a different thing. Tim, I think you're falling for a hoax.
Maybe.
I mean, the thing looks.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Wouldn't be the first time I fell for a deep sea hoax.
Oh, it's not somebody responded to this picture. That picture is not of a crustacean, but an animal with cyclopsism.
Yeah, Cyclops disease.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, you showed me this picture. It's obviously not a crustacean. It's a fish, you idiot.
Tom, I don't know what a crustacean is.
Tim, would you ever live on a ship out in the ocean?
For how long?
Like for good. Permanently.
For good? For the rest of my life?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm a landlubber, Tom.
Yeah. What about like an oil rig?
No, that sounds like hell.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, living on an oil rig sounds like it really stinks.
Yeah. I'd go on, like, if I had a cruise ship.
Make a lot of money, though.
On an oil rig?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what are you going to buy? Oil with it? You got to drink oil, first of all, because you can't drink the seawater.
Tim,
Tom, have you been drinking seawater?
You get the oil for free. That's one of the perks of the job. All the oil you can take home.
You fill your pockets with that
But
stuff.
it's one of those jobs where
Black gold.
It's one of those jobs where you you go out there and you work for like a few months really hard, and then you make a lot of money, and then you take the rest of the year off. It's that kind of thing, like being a deep sea fisherman.
But also, Tom, what about you? What about me makes you think that, like, I want to go out there and work real hard for a few months?
Instead of working real hard for a few months, I'd rather just not work very hard at all for the whole year.
My whole life. Yeah, exactly. Scrape by.
Yeah, it's wild to me that, I guess I guess there are like people that just live on yachts and stuff, like live in houseboats. But I'm talking about like living at the sea where you've got to have some oranges with you so you don't get scurvy.
Right. Yeah, how would I get food, Tom?
I guess they don't even have orange. They have to bring like a whole damn orange tree, huh?
I guess so. I mean, I guess nobody like lives out on the sea for that long without coming back for supplies or getting things delivered to them.
But they used to. And
who?
Pirates and stuff. That's how they found out about scurvy. That we need vitamin C.
I know, Tom, but they also they would go to land sometimes. That's when all the pillaging happened.
Yeah, but no, sometimes they would just go to other boats and pillage those.
Yeah, sometimes they would, but they would also wind up on land at points because they'd have to get more supplies.
Yeah, but then sometimes they wouldn't, and they would get scurvy, and they would go, "What the hell is this? What's this disease? I don't even know."
I'm not arguing that pirates got scurvy. We're in 100% agreement there.
Okay.
What I am saying is that pirates did not get on a ship one day and be like, well, goodbye to land forever, and then sail off and just live for years without ever stepping foot on land.
What about Captain Hook?
Captain Hook is a fictional character.
But probably based on a real guy. A real guy who just really wanted to murder a boy who would taunt him.
Yeah. I don't like getting taunted by little kids.
Yeah. It might be enough, Tim, to drive you to live at sea for the rest of your life.
No, because he was in Neverland, right? I've never seen Peter Pan. Too problematic for me, Tom. But I have seen Hook. and Dustin Hoffman is on land at points in Hook.
Yeah, but do you ever see him eating on land? Do you ever see him having an orange?
I'm not saying he didn't have scurvy.
Because that's the thing too, Tim.
Scurvy.
Even if somebody was on land for a day or so, how do you know what they're eating? They might not.
Didn't you get scurvy?
What?
Didn't you get
No,
scurvy?
I got gout. I got gout. It's something completely different. Similarly old-timey sounding.
Oh yeah, I forgot when you got gout.
Yeah, and like kind of for a similar reason, because I was doing a keto diet, and
you were only eating meat, a la Jordan Peterson.
No, I wasn't only eating meat, but I was only eating certain things, and that gave me gout. So similar to scurvy, where it was like I'm not eating a
Lucky for you,
well-balanced.
though, Tom, you look great because of it. So
Thank you.
That keto diet.
I got the results I was after, so it was all worth it. It was all worth having like the worst pain ever, and then Googling that pain and being like, am I crazy, or is this the worst pain ever? And seeing a bunch of people talk about how like, oh yeah, it's one of the most painful things a human being can experience. But look, here I am doing a podcast regardless. So who's the real hero?
Captain Sullenberger.
You're right, Tim. That was
Tom,
a test.
I can't help but think we're burying the lead here. People might be thinking like, oh, these guys are like kind of talking about the ocean. I don't even think they're qualified.
Mm-hmm.
Tom, you want to tell people where you're broadcasting from right now?
Tim, I'm broadcasting from a place called Ocean City.
Yeah. All right, smart ass listener. Yeah, I think we do have the gravitas to take on this topic.
I'm practically in Atlantis itself right now. Yeah, I'm on vacation, and I'm in Ocean City, New Jersey, not Maryland, which is where the GPS wanted to take me to before I realized.
How long did it take you to realize? And did you realize, or did your girlfriend realize?
No, I realized before I even took off. I like tapped it, and I was like, no, that's too long. But that was surprising. Normally, I would just tap something and be like, all right, let's go, and just start driving.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Sometimes when I go visit my
computer's
in-laws,
never wrong.
Like, they live in a different state.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get there, and they'll be like, oh, what route did you take? What roads did you go on? And I always just have to be like, I followed the blue line on my phone, and when it told me to get off at an exit, I got off at that exit.
Do you ever feel like I feel like a lot when I'm driving pretty much anywhere, because I'm so bad at directions that I just always use an app on my phone. That's when I feel like, all right, maybe autonomous driving should be here, because basically what I'm doing is like translating what one machine's telling me to another machine with almost no thought of my own going on in the meantime.
Yeah. I use it to get to my parents' house.
Yeah.
I know how to get to my parents' house. I still turn on the GPS.
But it makes it easier. You just don't have to pay as much attention.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
But sometimes like, crap, I missed my exit.
Do you think they'll ever make GPS for the ocean?
I don't think they can, Tom.
Yeah, no roads.
Tom, did you know people like you are keeping us from knowing about anything about the ocean? We know more about Mars than we know about the ocean.
Good. It's more interesting. Mars is more interesting.
It's not. It's scary under the ocean, Tom. We both agree there. Mm-hmm. But it's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. But I think we can all agree the less we know, the better.
The longest mountain range on Earth is under the sea, Tom.
Yeah.
And guess what? You know the Andes Mountains? You're like, oh, that's a pretty long mountain range.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? Multiply that by freaking 10.
Wow.
That's how long the mid-oceanic ridge is.
Mm-hmm.
40,390 miles long. That's nautical miles.
Now,
too.
how, like, the peak of that, I wonder how deep that is under the ocean. Because could you...
It's so deep.
Even the peak, let alone the valley. Because I'm wondering if you could just go down to the peak. You get one of those James Cameron submarines. You go to the peak, you get out in some pressurized suit, and you go, look at me. I climbed the tallest mountain. Now I'm the best mountaineer.
I don't know if we know how. I mean, Tom, this is a, when they did the Red Bull skydive from space thing?
Of course I know, Tim.
Why don't you and I do that, but over Mount Everest, and we'll land on top of Mount Everest?
Well, I mean, you can take a helicopter to the top of Mount Everest, I think. I don't think that counts as like climbing Mount Everest, to be fair.
Then why would your underwater escapades count as climbing that mountain, Tom?
Yeah, I guess
this was all a trap.
I mean, you could say, though, you could be like, well, I started from land. I don't know what else I could do to make this more valid. But there's
Tom, the average water depth to the top of the ridge of these mountains is 2,500 meters, 8,200 feet.
Yeah, so not swimmable.
Underwater. If you hold your breath, how long could you hold your breath?
I used to be able to hold it like 2.5 minutes, I think was the longest I've ever...
David Blaine could do it for way longer, Tom.
You can do it for like a few minutes longer.
Yeah. It's a few minutes longer is like multiple times longer than you could do.
I still don't think he could swim that deep, Tim. I think the pressure of the ocean would crush him. But the ocean's full of there's so many. When I was doing my research over the past few months, there was so much. There's a lot of like, did you know this? The tallest waterfall is actually under the ocean.
Yeah, what does that even mean? How does that work? So that's like SpongeBob logic, right?
Right.
A waterfall under the ocean?
Well, apparently there's waterfalls where there's cold water, which is denser and heavier. So that's falling off of like a cliff down. Tim, there's a bunch of there are underwater waves. There are underwater rivers.
See, This is much like when I watch Cosmos. It's like, show me this. Do you know this? Have you been there?
But that's the thing, Tim. They can't really show you anything because it doesn't look like anything. You got to feel it.
Right, but have they felt it?
Because it's water on water. Unless they bring some like food dye down, I guess, and maybe dye. They should really dye some of these underwater rivers green like they do at the St. Patrick's Day parade.
I mean... If it would help prove that they exist.
Yeah. Because I feel like that's why people aren't searching the ocean as much. Because they're like, guess what? We found an underwater waterfall. It's like, oh, man, that must look cool. Show us pictures of it. Here it is. It's like, this just looks like underwater. We're going back to Mars. We're going to go look at stuff on Mars. This is boring.
I got news for you, Tom. Everybody got real excited about that Mars thing. Those pictures were boring, right?
Did you see the picture where there's a door?
No, Tom, you and your conspiracy websites. I don't want to...
Tim, there's a picture where there's a goddamn door in one of these hills.
Like a Hobbit door?
No, like a man-sized door. And it's not a Hobbit door. It's like a perfectly rectangular door. That's what makes it so crazy.
You're going to have to send that to me after this, because I don't...
Tim, I'll send it to you, but it might be dangerous to have this kind of knowledge.
I think you fell for a hoax, much like I did with the crustacean that was really a fish with cyclopsitis or whatever.
Well, speaking of like conspiracy theories with the ocean and stuff, Tim, you know about the bloop?
Tom, do I know about the bloop?
Yeah, that was my question. Do you know about the bloop?
Yeah, I know about all loud noises. Explain what the bloop is.
Tim, the bloop is a very loud noise. It was 1997, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, which, Tim, they're controlling the weather, but that's something for another day. They've got this whole system up in Alaska where they can control the weather. They capture one of the loudest sounds ever recorded. And they named that sound the bloop because guess what? It sounds like this. Bloop.
Thousands of miles away.
The sound was loud enough to be picked up by sensors over 3,000 miles away. So that's like the width of the country.
Sounds like my neighbor's party last Saturday night, right?
Oh, I hope not, Tim. I think you would have been obliterated by those sound waves if it was that loud.
Yeah, my friend in Los Angeles called me up and was like, "Do you hear that?" He's like, "Do I hear that?"
He's like, "I'm in the Ace Hotel right now, and everyone's talking about this loud noise." Originally, researchers noted that the nature of the sound made it seem like it came from an animal, although no known animal exists as large enough to make that sound. After 15 years, the NOAA concluded that the noise came from an ice quake, which is when seismic activities cause a break in frozen ground. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Tim, what motion am I doing right now?
You're making a lewd motion with your hand.
That's what I think about this. No way. They found what made that damn bloop sound, and they were like, "Oh boy, we better not tell anybody about this."
and whatever made that was like, "No, you're not gonna tell anybody about." Hey, say it was ice breaking, an ice earthquake.
You're not gonna tell anybody who's making the bloops down here, right? You're going to go back and you're going to take pictures of Mars and you're going to leave the ocean alone.
Did you find a sound file of the bloop?
Yeah, it sounds like this. Bloop.
Right, but that's sped up.
Right.
Like what?
I
only
listen to sound sped up.
Yeah, I mean it's hilarious.
I don't have time.
Watch,
yeah, it's a very long like.
Yeah, it actually, they said it's more like rolling thunder.
Right. Yeah.
I wish it was more like Bob Dylan's Rolling Thunder Review, right? Then we'd all be.
Well, that would be nuts.
Then we'd all be rocking out. Yeah.
That'd be nuts if we heard that under the ocean. Then maybe people would start being more interested.
Yeah. That's Bob Dylan's Rolling Thunder Review.
And it's like, but Bob Dylan, he's on tour right now. He's not under the ocean.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about Bob Dylan being under the ocean, Tom.
He's too old to be under the ocean. Yeah.
Do you think that Bob Dylan has ever swam in the ocean?
Yeah, I can see him swimming in the ocean. Like one time.
He'd have like trunks on.
Yeah, maybe not during the day. Maybe at night he would go into the ocean, Bob Dylan.
Maybe.
And Tim,
he surprises you sometimes.
I don't want to get in trouble with people with Bob Dylan thinking you're trying to say he's afraid of the ocean just because you are.
I think he'd be the first to admit he's a very honest man.
That's true. But yeah, this
remember when he surprised everybody by doing that Victoria's Secret commercial, and we were like, man, this old man is who like never wanted to sell out, or people claimed that he didn't want to sell out.
Yeah, it sounds like the price just wasn't right.
But that was 25 years ago. He's even older now, Tom.
Yeah.
They should get him in an even racier Victoria's Secret commercial.
I don't know. That was
blow everybody's mind.
That was pretty racy, and although it was 25 years ago, you have to admit he looked pretty good in that lingerie.
He wore it well.
Yeah, I could see him in the ocean after being so scantily clad in those commercials. Yeah, this bloop, it sounded like a whale. I think that's what they thought it was. Like, oh, this must be some whale species we're not familiar with.
Right. Now, aren't you afraid that there's a big freaking thing down there? Like, you're just like, oh, no, there's not going to be anything cool. But what about a whale like 25 times the biggest whale we know about right now? Isn't that kind of scary?
No, because it's not going to come get me.
What if it did, though?
Oh, I didn't think about it that way. I'm never that far out at sea. I guess sometimes I am pretty far out at sea, and it maybe
you used to go on cruise ships a lot.
Yeah, I've been on boats. Maybe it would be far enough out to get me.
And also, the ocean's crazy right now with the temperatures all.
Yeah, things might be getting
like,
startled out of their normal hidey holes.
They're seeing like dolphins at the beaches that like we grew up at.
Yeah.
They just like are there all the time now.
Right, and that water used to be
right.
too cold for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows?
Everything's fine.
There might be some. I'd be more afraid of a giant squid
than a dolphin.
Yeah, of course, than a dolphin. Tim, I wouldn't be afraid of a dolphin at all. I'd love to hang. I've never gone swimming with a dolphin. Have you?
They can be aggressive. No, I haven't. I don't really like sea creatures. They're
Tim,
they're slimy.
A dolphin's a fellow mammal. It's not a sea creature. I mean, I guess it's a creature that lives in the sea, but and they're not slimy. That's just,
they are slimy.
They're not
Tom.
slimy. They're smooth. I felt a dolphin.
Yeah, where did you feel a dolphin?
At like a place.
See, Tom, you say that you claim that you've done things that are like plausible to have done. Much like the time you said that you once went to a pizzeria and bought dough with them so you could make your pizza at home.
Tim, I don't know how to convince you.
I know that you could have done that and you considered doing it, but you've never done that.
Tim.
And I know that like you can pet a dolphin, but you have not pet a dolphin, Tom.
Tim, the next time me and you are out and about and we go by a pizza place, I'm going to walk into that pizza place, ask if I can buy dough, and I'm going to smack you right in the face with it once they sell it to me. Pizza places will sell you dough if you ask them.
Tom,
Why wouldn't they?
Again, I agree with you on that. I know that they do. You claim that you bought dough from a pizza place.
I made pizza with it.
And made a pizza with it. No, you didn't. You obviously did not.
Tim, they're not afraid of the competition. The guy sold it to me. He goes, yeah, right. Yeah, I'd like to see you make a better pizza than us.
Tom, see, you're reframing the argument, making it sound like I'm arguing something. I know they will sell you the dough.
And I came.
You did not purchase the dough from them.
And guess what? After I bought the dough, I said, you know what? Let me buy some marinara sauce, too.
Oh, no. Now you're really,
and I said,
you know asking for it.
Give me some cheese. I'd like to buy some cheese.
Oh, brother.
And then I said, hey, can I use your oven for a minute? And Tim, that pizza cost me a quarter what it normally would.
By the way, can you toss this dough for me and spread this
marinara crazy,
on
Tim?
it?
That's the funnest part. I insisted on tossing my own dough.
You ever try to toss pizza dough, Tom?
Yeah, it's next to impossible.
Disaster. Yeah. These men that work and women that work in
pizzerias,
all genders that work in pizzerias, they're the real heroes.
Yeah. I mean, not everybody tosses the dough, I feel like, but my hat's off to the people that do.
Yeah.
Hey, just watch. Make sure you're not doing it under the ceiling fan. Am I right?
You're right, Tom. Not that you've ever done it.
Not that I've ever.
Not that your hands have ever touched raw dough.
Tim, I make pizza with raw dough all the time. I don't always buy it from pizzerias, but I can. I'm able to. Tim,
it's a simple question, Tom. Do you have a pizza stone?
No, I don't. I should get one.
All right.
Oceans have more artifacts than all the museums in the world combined.
I don't know. How are we defining artifacts?
Because guess what? There are 3 million shipwrecks in the ocean.
Yeah, I read that stat too. And that makes me never want to go on a ship. 3 million?
Yeah, but you think about how many
ships?
And there's like for all time, a lot of these ships, it's like they're very old, which again is why they have artifacts.
That's true. Yeah, I guess they were... didn't take much to build a ship. I mean, I can't build a ship.
And it took.
Are you going to say, "Oh, I built a ship one time"?
It doesn't take much to sink them either.
Yeah, giant whale, 25 times the size of a normal whale.
Right? Yeah, one of those comes up on you, and you've got a little homemade ship. You're not going to be long for this world.
What I didn't know is that the Santa Maria, Tom, the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria sunk, wrecked.
What was it, on the way back? It must have been.
I don't
know. Who knows? I mean, it made it to America, I would hope. If we had to learn about that shit, if it sank halfway here, then that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why is that taking up valuable space?
The two names, yeah.
All right, Tim. What?
I found a dubious fact.
Okay. Is it going to be like this one-eyed fish?
No. Sea ice, they claim.
Oh, I saw this fact too. Okay, go ahead.
Sea ice is drinkable.
Yeah.
Now, what's the one thing you know about water in the ocean? Water.
Everywhere. And all of it's good to drink.
No. Oh, you've got it backwards, Tom.
What?
You're not supposed to drink. It'll kill you. It'll drive you mad.
Yeah, it'll drive you mad, then kill you. And it'll kill you like in a bad way, too.
Yeah.
I think it
by madness.
Well, no, I think it probably all the salt gets into your like kidneys. You know, your kidneys try and filter that out, and they get overwhelmed. Probably a very painful death.
But apparently, you can drink sea ice, not fresh.
Right.
You have to wait for it to age, and then you melt it and then drink it.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. I've never seen sea ice. Are they talking about glaciers? Stuff from glaciers?
Well, and that's that seems I'm wondering what aging means. Does it mean I got to give it a week? Or is it after 1 million years you can drink the sea ice? Because I'm thirsty now.
I'm always thirsty, Tom.
Yeah.
I can't wait 1 million years. I'm parched now.
Tim, I'm so thirsty. I've been drinking salt water all day in Ocean City here. And
oh, no.
God,
I mean, they probably just put that on the table in all the restaurants. In a carafe.
Yeah, and they say, don't worry, we put some sea ice in there. So now the whole thing is drinkable. Yeah. And
freshen up your seawater, sir.
And this page that they link to as proof of that, it gives absolutely no information about this. Again, I think it's more of we're talking very old glaciers. You can drink that ice, not.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna I've been to Iceland, but I didn't go to the part where you could walk around
you could get
glaciers.
Ice.
Yeah, exactly, where you get ice. You can eat seal there, Tom.
Ugh.
And I'm not talking about Heidi Klum's ex-husband.
They got divorced?
I think so. I think he was accused of being a bad man to her.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But he wrote Kiss from a Rose.
He sang it, at least. Did he write it?
Yeah, I don't know if he wrote it, but I don't know. How can you not be a old romantic soul singing a song like that for Batman and Robin?
Anyway, I don't think I'll ever encounter an iceberg.
Hopefully
or a glacier.
Not. Remember what happened to those fellas on the Titanic when they encountered one?
Some of them were fine, though.
I don't think any of them were fine. I think
people got away. That old lady seemed fine.
They got away.
She was wistful about the poor boy that danced for her for a little while.
Yeah, but she still almost froze to death on a door. I don't think that was fine. She lived.
Can I tell you something, Tom? I've never seen Titanic either.
Tim, and we're supposed to have James Cameron on this podcast next week. I think we're going to have to cancel.
Nah, as long as these movies are, short, the normal
I'll be able to
length,
pack them all in.
I'll pack them all in.
Have you seen both Terminator movies?
I have, but only for the
this
episode
show
of Papa Everything. Yeah, for this show.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen them until probably 2015.
Why do you have such a grudge against James Cameron?
I mean,
is it because he's apparently a bad husband?
I mean, probably. He doesn't seem like a good guy.
No, and to be fair, I don't think he's a bad husband in a bad way. It's more of a he gets married to somebody and then he's off to the ocean for 2 years.
Yeah. And also, can you imagine the way that he treats a wait staff when he goes out to dinner?
Yeah. It's What is this, freshwater ice? I want sea ice. And it has to be properly aged, you idiot, or else it will kill me.
The brine has to be released.
But make sure to bring the brine separately. I like to dip my cucumbers in it.
If you like the show, you can find out more at tcgte.com. Hey, if you want more of this, check out our Patreon. Patreon.com/complete guide. I'm not really selling it. I'm sick, Tom.
Yeah.
I lost steam. You take over. I'm going to go get some water.
Patreon.com.
I'm going to go get some seawater.
Patreon.com/complete guide. You can get episodes of Books to Podcast. Right now, Tim's in the middle of reading 2001: A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. And we're talking about it every week, and then I'm going to be watching the movie. You get all those new episodes, all the back episodes of Books to Podcast, and more. Patreon.com/complete guide. You can follow us on Facebook, Facebook.com/complete guide. Follow us on Instagram at TCGTE. Follow us on Twitter at Complete Guide. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Reynolds.
Follow me at your pal Tim.
Back in time just to plug his handles.
Yeah, I'm going to leave again.
And you can check out our subreddit and our Discord server at tcgte.com. We got links to all that stuff and a whole lot more. Tim is still gone from
I'm back.
he's back. I was done with the plugs. I didn't know what else to say.
I know. Well, what do you want to talk about? The ocean?
Tim, 70% of our oxygen comes from ocean plankton. Have you ever heard that before?
I had, and I don't really know what that means, but I hear that in the context of we're fucking things up with the plankton right now.
Oh, I mean, of course. We're fucking things up with everything.
The ocean faster than we're ruining everything else.
Yeah. But Tim, I refuse to give up my plankton dinners. All right? That's where I draw the line.
Well, you also, you eat them and then you just go whew, I feel great.
Yeah.
You're just
I'm full of
fresh
oxygen.
injection of oxygen, yeah.
But I feel like, look, I know we should also protect the rainforest and the trees and everything, but I feel like I've been misled, thinking all of our oxygen comes from trees.
Yeah.
But I guess all this oxygen's out in the ocean where we can't breathe it.
Exactly.
Hovering above
fish.
the ocean.
How do fish work? How do they not suffocate underwater?
How do fish work? Tim, that's beyond the scope of our ocean episode. You'll have to wait until we do an episode about how fish work.
Man, we talked about the ocean for an hour and fish barely came up.
Yeah, it really does go to show just how big the ocean is. And the one time they came up, you thought it was a crustacean.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Wow.
The one time it came up, I was talking about the jam band from Vermont.
No, that was last week's episode. We were talking about fish. You think the band Fish, you think they've got a favorite fish? You think anybody's ever asked them that in an interview? You think they've ever been interviewed by somebody really high? Who's asked them,
nah.
Hey, Fish, you know what, man? You know what I've been thinking? I've been wondering, what's your favorite fish? What's Fish's favorite fish?
Real proud of himself asking that.
Yeah.
There's nothing
and they probably thought
makes me angrier than a high person, a high idiot thinking they're clever.
Yeah.
Ooh. Now I'm mad at stoners.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.